God's kingdom, his domain of just rule and order, works in a different way from ours, which is why we often miss it. The Bible shows us, first from the Old Testament in Genesis 29, how Jacob experienced it, then in Matthew 13, some ways that Jesus defined it, and lastly from Paul writing in Romans 8 about how Spirit-filled Christians are enabled to live in it. There's a link to the readings in the notes. Jacob's story teaches us how God uses difficult people and situations to nudge us closer to his order for our lives. Jacob's uncle Laban wasn't a great role model in reinterpreting his agreement to allow Jacob to marry his second daughter. He used the bait-and-switch ruse to substitute the older and evidently less attractive daughter Leah for Rachel, who Jacob had fallen in love with. And that was hard to take, but also a prompt for him to grow out of using his quick mind in dishonorable ways. For us, what feels like the opposite of God's blessing at times may bring it in another way. Secondly, we see God's kingdom in the multifaceted way that Jesus defined it. We need his order so much we should sacrifice everything else for this unique catalyst to our mission, bringing powerful new meaning to the old truths, causing radical transformation and rapid growth, just like the handful of leaven which puts life into a batch of dough to become dozens of risen loaves ready to bake. The third aspect is the important one of how we, as Christians, live in the reality of God's will and order. We won't be popular, persecuted, misunderstood, and mistreated. But wait a moment, doesn't the only man to live a perfect life hit up against these very things? The other side of suffering is having the Holy Spirit, the Comforter in us, aligning us to God's will, giving us the means to pray when we can't find the words, and causing everything to flow together in God's order, and constantly reassuring us of God's faithful love.